Hey guys, it's Saucy Surg. If you haven't been keeping up with the latest Crimson Desert update, you're missing out on one of the biggest changes we've seen so far. We're talking about over 60 brand new tameable pets now spread across the world, including multiple cat variants, a wide range of birds, powerful flying creatures like falcons and eagles, and even some rare hidden companions that most players haven't even discovered yet. But here's the problem. The game doesn't really tell you where to find these pets, how to tame them efficiently, or what best resources you should be using to actually make the process worth your time. So in today's ultimate in-depth guide, I'm going to be breaking it all down step by step. What we'll be covering: the exact locations for high-value flying pets like falcons, eagles, and the white owl, how to track down and tame the legendary phoenix, where to find rare cat variants like kittens and what makes them unique, the best food items and strategies to maximize your taming success, and the fastest way to build out a strong pet lineup without wasting hours of grinding. If you're trying to get ahead of the curve and unlock some of these rare or unique companions in this game, then this is the guide you don't want to skip. And real quick, if you're into tips, tricks, guides, FPS, MMOs, or just RPG content in general, make sure to smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow more than you guys know. Now, without wasting any more of your guys' time, let's get into the ultimate pet guide in Crimson Desert. So the first thing we're going to be covering is an item called the Satdae of Bond, or I like to call it the bird feeder. Now, if you're not familiar with this is one of the most important tools introduced in the latest Crimson Desert update, and it's going to be the key item to taming every single bird we talk about in this video. Bird feeder is essentially a deployable feeding station. Think of it as a small bird feeder that you place directly on the ground, and once it's set down, you can load it with different types of food depending on the animal you're trying to attract. And this is where it becomes very powerful. Including different birds prefer different foods, so choosing the right bait is what determines how fast and how consistently you're able to tame them. Now, as far as how to actually get this item, it is tied to a questline involving the Perorian Forest Elves. If you've already completed that questline, the bond should be available in your camp's private storage. Once you pull it out and place it down in the area, your target bird spawn, load it up with the correct food, and let it do its work for you. To make things even easier for you guys, I'm going to throw up a visual on screen showing you some of the best food types for some specific animals across the map. And if you really want a solid source, check out crimsondesert.gg. I'll have it linked in the description. It honestly has one of the best tools right now for tracking down animal locations, spawn areas, and the preferred food types throughout Pywell for the animals. Using the right food in the bird feeder is especially helpful when you're just trying to grind all these different birds. Now let's talk about why taming pets in Crimson Desert is actually worth your time, because a lot of players are still overlooking this system. And first of all, it's obvious: the aesthetic. Having a companion with you in the world just adds a new layer of immersion, whether it's a bird flying overhead, a cat following behind you, or a dog just running along beside you. It really makes the game feel more alive, and if you're someone who actually enjoys animals like I do, it just makes the experience that much better. But beyond that, pets are extremely useful. They're not just for show. When it comes to farming resources, pets can save you a ton of time. Dogs, for example, will run around and automatically pick up loot. We're talking about ore, shields, weapons, and even looting bodies. Now, birds take it a step further. Birds can fly, and they're faster, more efficient in what I thought, and they don't get caught on terrain or objects as easily as some of the ground pets like the cats or dogs. Cats are also functionally similar, so no matter what type you prefer, they all contribute to faster farming and better all over efficiency. So if you're grinding resources, farming gear, or just trying to be efficient as possible, having a pet is honestly kind of a game changer. Now, if you want to explore all the options, you can check out crimsondesert.gg. They've got a growing list of all pets currently in the game. Before this update, we only had cats and dogs. Now we have a huge variety of birds, along with the different variants and colors, and even smaller companions like puppies, kittens, and tiny birds. Just keep in mind, not every location is fully updated, but as the community continues to explore and share the locations, the database is only going to get better over time. Alright, now let's get into actually how to tame pets in Crimson Desert, starting off with one of the easiest and most common, and that is going to be the dogs. So first thing, dogs are a meat-based animal, which means they only respond to different types of meat or bones. This can be anything from basic meat all the way up to higher tier options like fine meat, tender meat, and so on and so forth. Now here's the important thing to get right. Not all food gives the same amount of trust. Each dog has a preferred type of food, and depending on what you give them will gain you more or less trust per interaction. Since there is a daily limit on how much trust you can build throughout these actions, like petting or feeding, using the right food is what's going to determine whether you tame that dog quickly or drag the process out over multiple attempts. For example, if a dog requires 100% trust total, and one food gives it 15, while another gives you 35, you can see how using the better option saves you a bunch of time and interactions. On top of that, there are also Abyssal gear bonuses if you equip it on your armor that increase how much trust gain you make, which can make the process a little faster if you're interested in optimizing that. Here's exactly what you need to do. The first thing first is you're going to find the dog that you want to tame, and you're going to approach it. Start by petting it to build the initial trust. Keep petting it until you notice you are no longer gaining your trust. At this point, you're going to want to feed it its preferred food. Now this is important. The food must be dropped manually from your inventory, and it needs to be raw, not cooked food. because cooked food can actually attract people to come over pick it up. Once you drop it on the ground, the dog will eventually walk over and eat it and gain a large chunk of trust. From there, you just repeat the process, petting and feeding until the trust bar is full, and once that's done, simply walk up and claim your dog just like that. You've got yourself a brand new companion. If you're not sure what specific food to use, check out crimsondesert.gg. You can look up any animal and see exactly what the highest pet food will be for that animal. Because using the right food is the difference between taming it in one session or wasting multiple days just to finish it. Alright, next up, we're going to talk about our feline friends in Crimson Desert. Now, personally, some of my favorite pets in the game right now are these chunky, low-profile cats. They've got a ton of personality, and honestly, they're just really cool following you around. When it comes to taming them, the process is very similar to dogs. Cats are also meat-based, meaning they prefer specific types of meat, depending on the variant. So just like before, you'll want to pet them to build the initial trust, feed them their preferred food, and repeat it until their trust bar is complete. And again, if you're unsure what a specific cat prefers, you can check out crimsondesert.gg to find the best food for maximum trust gain. Now, here's one thing that gets interesting because there's actually a much faster way to tame cats than there is dogs, and that's using the legendary fish. Right now in the game, legendary fish doesn't really have a major use outside of this, so instead of letting them sit in your inventory, you can use them to instantly fill a cat's trust bar. I'm not exaggerating, one legendary fish will get you 100% trust. So you don't want to skip out this grind entirely, this is by far the best method. One of the easiest spots to grab one is near Payloon. If you just head below the P on the map, there's a small lake there where you can find a golden carp. And here's the best part, you don't even have to fish for it. You can literally swim out there, grab it, and you got yourself a legendary fish ready to go. From there, you can farm multiple fish going around the map, and you can tame any cat you want instantly. And here's exactly how it works. You're going to find the cat you want to tame, move it into a controlled area so no other cats try to grab your legendary fish, or so your cat doesn't wander off. You're going to open up your inventory and drop the legendary fish on the ground. Wait for the cat to walk over and eat it. Give it a second. Sometimes it does take some time depending on the moment. But once he eats the fish, he'll instantly get 100% trust. And at that point, walk up and claim your new companion. Once the cat is yours, you can head to your pet menu and you'll see all your own companions. From here, you can summon or unsummon your pets, rename it, manage your lineup, and so on and so forth for a brand new companion. And yes, I'm going to name this one Cheeseburger. Alright, now that we covered cats and dogs, it's time to move on to the biggest addition in the latest Crimson Desert update, and that's going to be birds. This is where things really start to open up, because there are a ton of new varieties now spread across the world, and understanding what they eat is the first step to taming them efficiently. So, birds are generally broken into a few categories based on what they eat. Herbivores, which are like, plants, vegetables, and omnivores, which eat both, or just carnivores, which are the predatory birds. And what we found is using the correct food types make a massive difference on how quickly you can build trust. Obviously, we talked about that with the cats and dogs. For birds that don't eat meat, especially smaller or more passive items, your best option is a grain-based food, and specifically we're going to be talking about barley. Barley gives a high trust gain and is one of the easiest resources to stockpile. You can grab it from merchants, general vendors, and farming-related traders across the map, so just buy a bunch and keep it on you for when you're trying to target those types of birds. Best food for predatory birds. Now, when it comes to larger, more aggressive birds like the falcons, eagles, or hawks, these are obviously carnivores and they respond best to meat. Some of these, like lean meat, any type of meat you can find will be the best. Obviously, you can find these by visiting butchers or meat vendors across Pywell. Before you even start taming these birds, make sure you load up on a bunch of barley for the passive birds and a bunch of different types of meat for the predatory birds. Have the right food ready, it allows you to tame them quickly and efficiently without running back and forth. Now here's a really important mechanic with the bird feeder. Once you fill it up, it actually stays stocked. That means you don't have to refill it every time you place it. It will remain filled until the food is fully consumed. So you can preload a large amount of food and reuse it across multiple taming attempts, which makes the whole process way more efficient. Alright, now let's start getting into some of the best locations to actually find and tame these birds across Crimson Desert, starting with a really solid early spot. The first area going to want to head is just left of Howling Hill, right along the western side of Hernan Hills, basically exactly where I'm standing here. This spot is great because it spawns a variety of birds, including crows, geese, and hawks. So you're getting multiple options in one location without needing to consistently move around. You might have to stay until you find the one you want. Once you get here, the process is pretty simple. Right away, you want to place down your bird feeder, load it with your barley or meat, step back, and the birds will come to you. Here's the key, just don't rush it. Different birds will land depending on what food you got in the feeder, so just wait for the one that you are targeting. Once the bird lands, let it eat and build trust. Keep the feeder stocked if needed, and you're just going to wait until that trust bar fills all the way up completely, and once it's full, you're simply going to walk up and claim the bird. This location is pretty good because you get multiple bird types in one area. It's pretty easy to access, and it's perfect for early game farming and just learning the system in general, so it's simple, efficient, and honestly just real easy to use. Now specifically for the geese in Crimson Desert, you're going to want to head down a bit further over where I'm exactly at this little pond. One thing to keep in mind, geese are easily spooked, so when approaching, try to move slowly. Avoid making, sprinting towards them or scaring them off because they will fly and then you'll have to reset. So what you're going to do is stand outside of the water and place your bird feeder down, load it up with whatever type of food it requires, and from there it's just a waiting gate. Eventually the geese will wander over to your feeder, start eating, and beginning to build trust. And once the trust bar fills up, simply walk up and claim your goose. Alright, next up, and honestly one of my favorite birds in the entire update for Crimson Desert is gotta be the white owl. This thing looks incredible and it absolutely nailed the detail on it. Now just like in real life, this one is nocturnal. That means it mainly spawns at night and over very early mornings. So if you show up during the middle of the day, chances are you're not going to see it at all. So make sure you're hitting this location at the right time. You're going to want to head to this location exactly where I am. And up on this Abyss Nexus, you're going to climb up these rocks and land here. At the edge of these rocks is where you're going to place your bird feeder down. We're simply just going to wait around 3 to 5 a.m. in game. We're simply going to sit here. Eventually an owl will land and you will be able to tame it. Like all the other birds, let the trust get to 100%, then walk up and claim your new bird. And I mean, just look at it. This is easily one of the best looking pets in the game right now. The detail, the animations, everything about it feels just real nice. If you're trying to build a rare standout pet collection, this is definitely one you don't want to miss. All right, next up, we got one of the best locations for taming one of those higher bird, like the predators. We're talking about eagles, hawks, gyre falcons, a mix of those larger bird species. You're going to want to head over just below Silver Wolf Mountain. There's an Abyss Nexus there you can fast travel. Once you get there, you start working your way up into the mountain area. This region is filled with large predatory birds flying overhead. This is actually where I picked up my gyre falcon and my eagles because they're constantly just flying above you. Now this spot works a little different compared to smaller bird locations. What you want to do is place your bird feeder, position yourself slightly below the birds that are flying up and around you, and eventually the bird will land and feed on your feeder. If the birds don't want to land, you can simply take out your bow and shoot the other birds that land on it, the ones that you don't want, and just cycle the bird feeder in your inventory and put it back down to obviously bring the birds to the bird feeder. Make sure they are filled with meat because we are looking for the predatory birds here, but there's a bunch of them, like I said, hawks, gyre falcons, and eagles. So hopefully you guys can get the one you're looking for. All right, now you're probably looking for something a little different, something a little more tropical. Let's talk about the parrots in Crimson Desert. And yeah, if you're trying to go to a full pirate cosplay, this bird is definitely the one you want on your shoulder. To find these, we're going to head to just below the Howling Hill over to the right side of Hernan Highlands. In this area, you'll start to see bright green parrots flying around, or blue, or even gray with all the different colors. Now, unlike predatory birds, parrots fall in more the herbivore omnivore category. That means they prefer barley, vegetables, bugs, things along that line. This gives them better trust compared to the meat, so don't waste your resources while using the wrong food. Obviously, it's the same thing with every animal we talk about. You're going to place down your bird feeder, fill it up, and wait until that animal comes, fills up his trust, and then you're going to walk up to it and claim it. Honestly, these guys are just clean-looking pets, bright tropical color vibe. It just gives that roleplay what we want to stand out visually. Parrots are easily one of the coolest cosmetic companions in the game right now. They're just fun to look at. Alright, now that we've covered the bird section, let's move into some of the best locations for the rare cats and dogs within Crimson Desert, especially if you've been struggling to find specific variants. First up, we're going to be heading over to the right side of Payloon, over to a place called Beacon Village. Now, when you get here, you'll notice right away this place is packed. There are multiple cats and dogs, different breeds, variants, a wide range of colors and sizes. Here, you'll find guys like greyhounds, huskies, Lofi cats, and a bunch of other random spawns. If you don't want the ones you're looking for that are there, simply fast travel back, and this will reset the spawns, change the variants and colors, and give you a chance at whatever pet you want. Next, if you're specifically hunting rare cats, head north to Demonis to a place called Kariv. This area has a dark alchemy style with sorcerers, but more importantly, it has a ton of cat spawns, including the rare ones. Here you can find these short-haired cats, slim cats, Lofi cats, and even the rare long-haired variant. Again, same method applied. Run through, check the spawns, and reset if needed. Now, one of the best early game spots for cats is the Peroran Village, where the forest elf people live. This place is loaded with cats. We're talking about tabby, black, white, Lofi, the rare variants, and all kinds of different styles. If you want a volume and variety, this is by far the best spot in the entire game. But here's where it gets even better. There's actually a guaranteed kitten spawn here. Yes, you can tame a baby cat. The exact location, when you're here in the Peroran Village, head to the Paul store, and to the right side of it, we're going to move towards the left of the group of vases and containers you'll see. We're going to jump up on this elevated wooden section, and right here laying down you'll see a small gray kitten curled up on the ground. Same process as before, drop the food on the ground, wait for the kitten to eat, but this one I use a legendary fish just to instantly tame it, and just like that you've got yourself a baby gray kitten. So once again, this place is absolutely huge for high cat density spawns, obviously the rare variants, and obviously a guaranteed kitten spawn. So honestly, one of the coolest hidden features in the game. Alright, now let's finish off with some of the most sought after pets, and we're going to be talking about this rare Abyssal cat. For a long time, players have been talking about trying to tame this, but it wasn't until now. To find out how we're going to get this guy is we're going to head up to the first Abyss Sky Temple known as Axiom Archive. Once you guys fast travel hill, you'll immediately notice the large dome structure. From there, follow the path all the way down through the trees, keep moving towards the intersection, and as you approach it at the end near these 2 square batteries, look over to your right hand side and you'll see the black Abyssal cat just laying there. Now depending on your interaction, you may be able to claim it immediately like I did, or just might need to build up a little bit of trust. So obviously drop some food, let it eat, finish it, and wait until it's yours. This one isn't just any pet, this is one of the rarest and cleanest looking cats in the entire game, and obviously it just adds to that collection that we're looking for. Absolutely beautiful. Alright, now for the final pet, and probably a really insane one for Crimson Desert, is the legendary Phoenix. This thing absolutely is a monster, a massive fiery bird with insane visuals, and easily one of the coolest companions you can get in the game right now. To find this, we're going to be heading over far north of the map, just below Trader's Expense in the Crimson Desert, right around this exact location I'm showing you here. When you get close, you'll know you're at the right spot when you start seeing a group of smaller birds flying around a much larger bird. Now this one isn't your standard tame, you actually need to hunt it first, so here's what you need to do. You're going to need to enter your focus shot stance and start spamming as many arrows into it as possible until it goes down. This is important because it must be dead, because then we are going to skin it and we are going to get something called the Phoenix Feather. Now here's the key step. Take that feather to any witch in Pywell and they will convert it into a Phoenix contract, and once we have that, you can summon the Phoenix as your pet. I mean, just look at it. This is easily one of the most visually insane pets in the game. Its massive presence, fiery effects, and just overall a legendary status. It honestly makes this one stand out among all the birds around. And once again, if there's a specific pet I didn't cover in this guide, whether it's a certain variant, color, or rare spawn, I highly recommend checking out crimsondesert.gg. It's a great resource where you can find the pet locations, the preferred food types, the different variants and colors. Now keep in mind, not everything is fully updated yet, but it still covers the majority of pets across Pywell currently in the game, and it's constantly improving as the community adds more information. Hopefully this guide helped you out, especially if you're newer to Crimson Desert and trying to get started with the pet taming. I'm just trying to make things easier for you guys and save you some time. If this guide helped you out, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow, and I've got a lot more guides coming your way. As always, take care, and God bless.